What's going on there, guys? We're back with another one. Want to talk about this clip on the pivot that's going viral, and many are saying that, oh man, Jaden Daniels' mom is calling him a kid still. She's doing too much. She's overprotective. But from my vantage point, we see people like Jalen Green who end up with these Dreas pregnant. We see Ant-Man. You could name off a list of athletes, and not just of this era, but over time, that's fell into these traps, end up with multiple baby mamas that they don't want to have nothing to do with. But that one night stand, they get them right. And Jaden Daniels' mom. One thing I'm looking at is Jaden wants her around because we look at her at the Brenda Ayuk wedding, and people are saying something about that. But the thing is, Jaden, he wants his mom in his company. Obviously to keep him alert, of what may be lurking at the door, and everybody cool with it. So I applaud him for that. And we're gonna get into what he had to say and what she said in the course of this interview that everybody's talking about. Let's check it out.
Can we talk about your mom really fast? Because I'm obsessed with her. She went
Let's talk
viral for
about it.
talking about how she wants to protect you from those girls out here. What is your relationship with your mom like?
That's my dog, man. I love my mom. She crazy. Uh, we can start there. She's very crazy. She's very protective, but I mean that's what mothers do. So every clip, the viral clips, stuff like that, it's kind of blown out proportions. But she's very protective. I love her. She's there at every game. She supports me through it all. So I mean, I wouldn't want to have any other mom ever.
I would imagine so. She seems awesome. Hi, mom.
I listen to you talk about the things you've done for yourself, but also the way you look at parenting. It just sounds like being a good mama to me. But when things become public and you let the outside world start to pick it apart, they're gonna be able to critique it and break it down and do whatever they want with it. You were very honest about protecting him. You said predators, also protecting him from women who can be predators. And we've seen that all through sports. We see it after their careers. We see it in business. Being the good woman you are, also raising a daughter, why have you been so diligent about protecting Jayden from the wrong woman?
So first and foremost, I have a meme out there, and it's funny. So I can't laugh. I can only laugh about it. But the whole girls comment was made, first of all, 2 years when he was at LSU. It was a question asked, like, what is your biggest fear? And that should be every parent's biggest fear. That should be, if you're a star athlete and you're a female in WNBA, that should be your biggest fear is, the men or, the women, because you're a public figure. And, your dollar amount is associated with your name. So you never know who really is there for you and who's really against you. And our thing is like, I want Jayden to date. I don't want everybody to say I'm putting it on record. My son can date. He can live freely, makes his own decisions. However, the relationship we have, he does value my opinion because, when my kids were little, I did a lot for them. So, and my kids saw that. My father, my background, I worked too hard to allow anybody at any moment to come in and just, take it away. So I have a view of what I feel a good person is. And, but my son is 24 and he does have to go through things and he has to learn on his own. And, he's a great kid and I'm thankful for him. He's, not like some of these other guys, he's really to himself. He's a homebody. He just loves sports, like he really is. So I'm trying to work on his afterlife after sports because at some point it does end. And I don't want him to just be like, now what do I do? So I want to keep him involved in the world and, have opened up a lot of doors. Like I'm in charge of his foundations. We're trying to build facilities and, back in his hometown that are going to help the youth and things like that. So that's what I'm in charge of on top of his everyday business dealings and, like I said, dealing with creative teams. I'm dealing with the creative side. I'm doing the storybooks and how we're positioning him and, all this other stuff. So it's not just about you guys seeing me out and thinking we're just like hanging, partying.
And so you hear mom right there saying she's looking at the future, what he's going to be doing after football, because, it's expected that someone like Jaden Daniels will have a long career, but obviously we know a few injuries could change that. There's a lot of circumstances that could change the trajectory of the length of your career. Now, he just had a phenomenal season, and the Washington Commanders, they look like next up in that conference to really start challenging the Eagles, you know. But again, I like the way she laid it out. And when I look at this, I'm like, yeah, you don't want to start sharing your generational wealth that you're building for your family with a bunch of other random families because now you tied in with them to have a kid. You know what I'm saying? So you tied up with them in that way. And I ain't talking about the kid. Obviously, you want to do for your kids and be in their life, but you don't even want to be out here just putting children everywhere where you are having to share your generational wealth that you would have for a family. Because I assume one day, the way they're talking, he wants to get married. He wants to be a married man one day. And sex is a free thing that people just do now. But really, obviously he should be saving that for marriage, with the way that him and his mom is going about it, because you want everything that you acquire to go to your children, you know, to go to whoever in your family is helping, working within your foundations and your different businesses you have away from the NFL, uh, and people that you care about, your close circle, right? You want to share the money with them and them only, other than like, agents or whoever, right? Um, so I see her point. And sometimes when we're that young, we not looking at the big picture. You just looking at, man, look at what I see right in front of me right now, and that's as far as you could see. And with him keeping his mom around, to me, I know a lot of people complaining about it. To me, that's him being aware of where he may stumble. And so mom is always on guard, always looking at the big picture. And I know sometimes you probably don't even want to hear it. But at the end of the day, he ain't got no Dreas or nothing right now, that he got pregnant. I got a little concerned when I seen Amber Rose hanging around CJ Stroud, talking about her ride left her at that award ceremony. I was like, oh shoot, she trying to set him up. Is what I started to think. And, his mom is always there for things like that, I feel like. So I want to give her a big shout out, actually. I don't think she's doing too much. I think she's doing just what is needed. And like I said, for people that's criticizing her, Jayden Daniels is a grown man. If he didn't want her around, he wouldn't have her around. I think, again, that's his awareness, knowing that she has experience in this thing called life, her being able to see a woman's intentions. Um, and pretty much, yeah, you shouldn't have no problem meeting the mom. If you want to come up and say something to Jada, say it in front of the mom. If she allow you to, or he allow you to, or whatever. But um, I don't know, man. I don't have a problem with it because on the other side of this brother will get out of this phase of his life without having children all over the place, without being tied up to two, three, four different baby mamas, getting, money from his not fully guaranteed contract. You know what I'm saying? Um, now he's obviously gonna command a large salary. He stay healthy and all that. He's gonna be one of the highest paid players in the league for sure. But um, no, like I said, no need to share none of that generational wealth with other people. You worked hard for that. That's you and your family's, brother. So salute to y'all. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Till next time. Peace.